hello. You might notice that I look different. I do not have the time, the energy, or the resources to do a little opening skit for this that I would really like to do. But I did at least dress up. If you know who I am, if you know who I'm dressed up as in this film, put it in the comments down below. I mean, what can I do? What can I do? I'm not singing, but what's like something I could do to at least spice this up a little bit more as an intro? Hey kids, want some Zydrate? I got plenty.
It's a Friday once again.
Hello, my fellow freaks, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you have all had a splendid week. Also, happy October! It is finally officially the Halloween season. For some of us, it already started back in like July or August, but now it is go time. I am recording this on October 1st. It is time to get spooky, bitches. And for the month of October, I've decided to do something a little bit different. Usually when I do reviews on here, it's stuff that I haven't seen before or have never gotten the opportunity to watch. However, for the month of October, all the films that I'm going to be reviewing are not only films that I've already seen, they're some of my absolute favorites. So all October long, not only expect most of these movies to be in like A and S tier categories, but they're all gonna be films that I would recommend to a like broad audience of people, of some horror films that I really like and that I don't think get enough attention. Well, one of the movies we'll be talking about, I think it does get, maybe two. Maybe they do get plenty of attention, but over half of the ones here, maybe you have never heard of, or maybe you have heard of and you just didn't trust it to be good, like with this week's movie. Because listen, I'm gonna be honest, this week's movie, at a glance, it probably looks like it's not good. Trust me, it is. And that is Repo, the Genetic Opera from 2008 and directed by Darren Lynn Bousman. Yes, that Darren Lynn Bousman, who did some of the most favorited and memorable films in the Saw franchise, except for Spiral. We don't talk about Spiral. Spiral does not exist. But if you don't know, Bousman did Saw 2, 3, and 4, which are like some of the all-time favorite sequels in the franchise. And he was the director for this week's film, which is called a genetic opera. Let me tell you right now, it is an opera. Every single word of this is sung. This is not gonna be like your typical horror movie. I guess maybe let me start with that. In fact, I think this is another one that's maybe more of a drama than it is actually like a scary horror movie, but it does have a whole lot of horror elements to it. And even if you're not a fan of musicals, let me tell you why maybe you should consider watching Repo, the Genetic Opera. Now, some of you may have already heard of it, others maybe not so much. It is a little bit of an obscure movie, but it does have a big cult following. So I'm gonna have a guess that maybe half of my audience knows exactly what this film is, and the other half more than likely have never heard of it and may also be surprised that this is by the Saw crew. It's by Twisted Pictures. So yeah, the Saw guy made a rock opera, and I am about to tell you every single reason why you should give it a chance. Again, even if you don't like musicals, keep in mind this isn't maybe what you expect from your typical musical. Consider what this channel is, consider the stuff I've covered in the past. Just hear me out on this one. I wanted to put Repo, the Genetic Opera first because it is a little bit more obscure. It's a little bit more of a strange choice. I kind of don't get to this point until like the conclusion, but I think I did also mostly just choose this because it's fun. It's like a fun, easy watch, low stakes. While a lot of the commentary can be taken seriously, overall it's very unserious and very campy, and I wanted like a nice, easy, unserious film for the first one in October. Yeah. I'm hoping the fact that this is done by Twisted Pictures and Bousman is enough to at least keep you guys hooked during this discussion, because I know musicals are not for everybody, and I get that. However, I do think you should give this one a chance because it's not gonna be like your grandma's musical. But first, if you are new here, hi, my name is STARGUTZZZ. And my movie reviews tend to be more of a discussion of things that I find to be good or bad about a film, rather than just giving you this play-by-play of every single little thing that happens in it. So in other words, I try to refrain from spoilers as much as possible, but they will arise as they pertain to the discussion that I want to have with the film. For this one, there are no spoilers, okay? I worked very diligently to make sure that this review doesn't have any spoilers. There's a lot happening in this movie, and just watching it unfold slowly, I mean, it's gonna be the best way to watch it. And I worked my ass off to make sure that I'm not giving any hints as to what the story here is actually about. Because a lot of it, it's fun getting to uncover it yourself, so just saying. But if you are interested in watching Repo the Genetic Opera before the rest of this review, so at the time of me recording this, it is just gone off of Tubi. However, let me tell you a story about my past experiences with Tubi and them like removing and adding stuff to the platform. Things will get removed and put back on there relatively quickly, okay? Let me tell the story again of what happened to me with Maximum Overdrive. Regular viewers, you are going to be annoyed by this. New viewers, there is a purpose to this. So as of right now, Repo the Genetic Opera is not on Tubi. However, keep checking in. When I did my Maximum Overdrive review, I watched it, I got my notes, I did the recording, I went back to record clips, it was no longer on Tubi. I was like, fuck. So I bought it on Amazon so I could record the clips that I needed. I finished that video, I got it uploaded. I shit you not, it was maybe like 2 or 3 days after I finished and uploaded that video that Maximum Overdrive was back on Tubi. You can typically find Repo that actually, let me even see. Has it even left Tubi yet? Give me a second. As of right now recording it, it is still on Tubi. If on Friday when this is uploaded, if it is not on Tubi, I recommend keep checking back like throughout the next week. I am so willing to bet Repo the Genetic Opera will be back on Tubi. And if it is not, if the link to it is not in the description right now, I am going to try and keep an eye out for it so I can add the link at a later time. Other places that you can watch it, if you have a Prime subscription, you can watch it on there. Same with Fandango and Pluto TV, it looks like. So even if it's not on Tubi right now, it does look like there are a few other free options or subscription options for you. But like I said, just keep checking Tubi. You can usually find Repo always on Tubi. And I guess with all of those pleasantries out of the way, let's go ahead into this review. In the year 2057, the world has turned into a dystopia where cosmetic surgery can not only change your beauty on the outside, but on the inside as well. No longer are people concerned with porn star looks, rather perfect genetics and organs are the new fashion statement. All thanks to the company GeneCo, who has made it easier for lower-class citizens to fix themselves by financing their surgeries. But one too many missed payments and the Repo Man will come and reclaim GeneCo's property. The narrative focuses on Shiloh Wallace, a teen girl with a blood disease that prevents her from leaving her room, although she often sneaks out to visit her mother's grave. During one of these sneak-out ventures, Shiloh's life is changed forever as she experiences the outer world and the people in it for the very first time. And many of these people Shiloh runs into are more related to her story than she realizes, some knowing more about Shiloh than she even knows about herself. Now we're gonna be getting into a full-ass discussion of just how cool this movie is, how cool it looks and everything, but the narrative, man, the narrative too, you can look at the poster for this. Look at the poster. Do you think it has a well-written, well-thought-out narrative? You probably wouldn't think that from the poster, or maybe even from trailers, but the narrative is actually so well-written in this. And it honestly is kind of really difficult to summarize Repo, just because there's 4 stories that are happening at the same time. It's 4 stories that are just like entangled into creating the overall main narrative. There are 3 characters whose backstories have prominence to Shiloh's journey, plus there's also Shiloh's journey itself. But let me say again, this is also a little bit more drama than it is horror. It has a lot of horror tones and themes and aesthetics, and it is gory. It is gory. However, at its base, Repo is definitely more of a drama than a horror movie trying to scare you. Although it does have some like scary ideas in it, it is at its core like truly an opera, and we'll get into that a little bit more later. I think overall what I would define Repo the Genetic Opera as is a very gory rock opera for edgy teenagers who are into theater or band. I was both. And I did start watching this in middle school. So listen, this movie, it just has like a soft spot in my heart. Yes, this is made for a very specific audience, but I think it still has quite a bit to offer in its narrative, its songs, its, oh my god, the cinematography. Like, there are a lot of moments when the Saw aesthetic kind of show up, particularly in regards to one character, Nathan. There's a lot of Saw aesthetics and Saw sort of imagery thrown into this movie. And the gore, of course, is going to be really well done. If you are a regular viewer, then you already know that I'm a total sucker for a piece of media that has a cool ass world built around it. And Repo, I think, might be my favorite world in fiction ever. Even more than Wastelands. The world that Repo has created, I love more than like any other type of fictional dystopian world. Now, Repo is definitely a product of its time, and we have like a very brief section on that later on. But one of the ways that we see Repo being more of a product of its time is in the world that it's built. I mean, it's very reflective of like goth aesthetics of the time period. You can look at the world of Repo the Genetic Opera and it feels like an Evanescence music video. It's a very grimy, industrial, and gothic landscape that's enshrouded in an eternal night. And I think this eternal night aspect that it has especially just adds so much to the mood and the tone of the piece. It gives like another dark beauty to it. It's just, man, this movie, it's so beautifully gothic, so beautifully mid-2000s gothic. You want to know the truth? I want to live here. I want to live in the world of Repo the Genetic Opera. Yeah, I get it. It's a really shitty dystopia with fucked up power systems in regards to GeneCo and its existence and what it is doing to the citizens. I get that, okay? But the architecture, man, the architecture, the eternal night, just like the gloomy gothic beauty of the entire city is, I want to live in this world. And listen, I think this is a dystopia that I could survive. I already don't feel prone to conventional beauty standards, and I pretty much accept that I am what I am. And in this world, it's not like everyone is forced to undergo surgery. Hey girl, hey, so did we just completely forget about this part of the story where people are pretty much forced to get new organs? Just a reminder, everyone is forced to do surgery through GeneCo. You're not like mandated by police to get a surgery, I don't think. I mean, GeneCo does have police, maybe I'm wrong. It does seem that like GeneCo is just the government. Like GeneCo is a medical clinic, but also like almost legitimately the government. So maybe I could be wrong. Maybe surgeries are forced and inflicted upon the citizens. Still, I think I would survive. And again, a lot of the surgeries that are taking place are, like I said, for vanity reasons. And that's something really cool that I like about Repo the Genetic Opera. It's not just focusing on plastic surgery. It's focusing more on like organs are the new plastic surgery. Like getting a brand new organ to fix whatever, like one woman gets a new kidney to automatically solve her drinking issues. Throughout the film, we also get advertisements of new eyeballs, which will record memories for you.
I'm Blind Mag. Your treasured memories don't have to fade with time. Announcing GeneCo's Cornea Plus. GeneCo's breakthrough optical technology where everything is digitally recorded so you can relive your favorite memories again and again.
There are mentions of particular organs, like not you don't have to sacrifice your style to get this organ.
State-of-the-art resolution and low density without sacrificing style.
I love it. What a cool concept and idea. I think what it is that they took that idea of plastic surgery, which 2008, I'm going to be mentioning a lot how it's very timely to its period. 2008, there's a lot of, what do you want to call it? Like publicity, mainstream publicity stuff over celebrities getting plastic surgery and getting like the huge tits and huge ass and making their faces look completely unrecognizable. So it's like they took the idea and concept of that and that starting to become a big trend in Hollywood, and they stretched it to its fullest extent, which is basically eugenics. it's like self eugenics in a way. But would that extend? Would that truly change somebody's DNA to even extend to an offspring? Because I don't think so. I think it's like a purely vanity thing. Although it's not just vanity that people are seeking out help from gene code for, which I think really starts to seep into like how truly messed up the society of Repo the Genetic Opera is. There could be a multitude of reasons that somebody seeks out surgery from gene code. It's not solely vanity. For an example, like one of the organs or parts that we see repossessed is a spine. I don't know what cosmetic reason a person would need to get a new spine, but I can think of some like medical reasons why somebody would need a new spine. And we also see this play out with a few of our main characters, Shiloh being one with her blood disease. There is a moment when I suppose he's the founder and CEO of GeneCo, Roti Largo. He is trying to cure Shiloh of her blood disease.
But there is hope, an antidote, and you could be the first to sample it. The GeneCo fix to all blood diseases. And I could use someone like you, the poster child of progress.
But not just her, there's another character that gets exploited by GeneCo because of her disability, and that is the character named Blind Mag. If you decide to watch Repo the Genetic Opera, let me tell Blind Mag is by far the best character in the whole thing. And by the way, she's played by Sarah Brightman. Sarah fucking Brightman. How the fuck did you get Sarah Brightman for Repo the Genetic Opera? Which is like a straight to DVD rock opera made by the Saw guys. How the fuck did we get Sarah fucking Brightman? If you don't know why Sarah Brightman playing Blind Mag is a big deal, Sarah Brightman was she was the originator of the role Christine Daae. Is that it? Daae? From Phantom of the Opera? But she didn't just originate the role. From what I understand, Weber literally like wrote the character of Christine so that Sarah Brightman could play her. And she's not the only surprising name in this. For some reason, Repo has a bunch of big names. Also, while editing this, I found out that Shiloh's actress is Carmen from Spy Kids. And Nathan was a prominent character in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which I didn't watch. I feel like I shouldn't have admitted that by now. But we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about the world. And Blind Mag is not only the best character, but she's also one of the representations of how GeneCo is exploiting people who have diseases or disabilities that may be truly seeking help. Now, I don't want to go into the specifics of Blind Mag's story because, again, listen, I think it's just going to be way better if you sit down and you watch it and experience it for yourself. But her name is Blind Mag. Blind. You can probably imagine what GeneCo did to help her. And throughout the film, we see GeneCo exploiting her after helping her.
Please don't go. Don't say no. Technically, you belong to GeneCo.
So not only are they like exploiting real people that need real help and real surgery, the surgeries are so expensive, it's implied that people aren't really able to keep up with payments at all, and it's just like all of their clients slowly dying. Well, I wouldn't say all of their clients, but I would say we see a lot of people die, okay? We see a lot of repossessions taking place. As I mentioned in the introduction, you can look at the cover of Repo, the Genetic Opera, and you would be like, that looks like a really shitty B-movie. Surprisingly, Repo has a lot of social commentary that we can like implement in our daily lives, or even like relate to our reality. Now, obviously, one of the commentaries that Repo, the Genetic Opera has is the commentary on cosmetic surgery and vanity, obviously. Like that's the most in-your-face one, because that's what the entire thing is about. But because there's also this focus on genetic perfection and achieving genetic perfection, you can also take into some readings of like eugenics in relation to Repo, the Genetic Opera, and a few other topics that I think this film explores that people could look at this film and like analyze, include, but are not limited to, the power structures, exploitation, sexploitation, the healthcare system, and of course, drug addiction. There is a lot more happening within the dystopian society of Repo than you would really guess at a glance. I think I would definitely recommend this one to the analysts of the audience, especially any of you who like to discuss the timeliness of a piece or perhaps relate a piece to our reality. I think Repo, the Genetic Opera is a really cool and interesting film to do that with, because like I said, it has a whole lot of commentary on our current society. Current 2008, but I think it can still be applied to 2025 and the future as well. So maybe it's not exactly timely. You can look at it in a timely sense, but I think you could also look at it in like a timelessness lens as well. One of my personal favorite aspects of this film is just how, I guess, like the fucked upness of a medical company letting people finance and I guess basically get new organs on loan, and then if somebody misses too many payments, that medical company just has the right to kill the person to get their stuff back. And maybe that is one aspect that makes Repo actually scary, is how it relates to reality. And somebody could make that argument and I would not tell them that they're wrong. So yeah, I love the world for how beautiful it is, but it also has a lot of very cool social commentaries happening in the film, in the narrative, that you maybe wouldn't even expect looking at the film, like from the poster. So as I stated, Repo is truly an opera, like in every sense. Maybe not. Okay, let me give some room for error here. There might be some technical things going on with Repo, the Genetic Opera, that don't necessarily make it literally an opera. I get that. It could be like the way they're singing. The only person who I think has any kind of like opera training obviously would be Sarah Brightman. And then what's his face, who was in Goodfellas? What's his name? Paul Sorvino. Yeah, that's another big name, by the way, Paul Sorvino. Him and Sarah Brightman are the only two that feel like they have any kind of actual opera training. The other people can just sing, kind of. Not everyone can sing. So maybe by all technicality, it's not really an opera, but it kind of is. It is in at least one sense. So I always learned that the main difference between a musical and an opera is that a musical has moments where there's actually acting and speaking taking place. Meanwhile, with an opera, the characters are singing every single line. And that's what they do in Repo, the Genetic Opera. They sing every single line. Do you think I'm lying? Here.
But it was real, Dad.
I'm the doctor. And I'm your father.
Didn't imagine this.
Please, Shiloh, drop it.
Couldn't have fathomed this.
Please, Shiloh.
Where the fuck is Dad, brothers?
He left me in charge, sister.
I don't take lip from a slut.
My brother and sister should fuck.
To bother me. To get me caught. I must get home.
Sorry, Mr. Largo. Here's a fresh cup for you.
What's this, rat piss?
Those those were some examples of like the conversational songs taking place in Repo, the Genetic Opera. If you are a real true hater of the musical and you hate just people singing, then maybe you will really truly dislike this film. But again, as I said in the beginning, it seems like this has a very specific target audience of the edgy theater kids. Now, honestly, I can think of like 2 instances where there's little lines that are spoken. It's not a full conversation, but it's just like, this way, or get away from me. Just like little statements like that. I can think of 2, maybe 3 times that happens, but the entire rest of this, singing conversations. Now, when we get into the soundtrack, not every single conversation is its own important titled song. The big songs, okay, there are like big songs that move the narrative forward and give you the narrative information that you need. And then in between those are like conversational songs between 2 or a few characters that help like get us from point A to point B, and then from B to C, and so on. And so if you look at the soundtrack, these conversational songs are not going to be part of the soundtrack, just the big, I guess I've been calling them the big movers in the narrative. But just keep that in mind if you watch this and if you end up liking it, and if one of those conversational songs ends up being one of your favorite songs, I like a few of, listen, I really like a few of the conversational songs, and I can't listen to them on the soundtrack because they're not as important enough in the narrative to have their own like actual title and shit.
I'm Mr. Largo. How are you? The folks at home would like to know your thoughts and views about Zydrate use and its abuses. Would you get a comment, sir?
Well, thank you, sir. Let me direct the matter to my daughter, the mind behind the Zydrate Support Network. Welcome, Amber, to the stage.
And like I said, this musical aspect, it's probably gonna turn a whole lot of people off, especially the fact that I just said they sing every single word. And I showed you evidence they sing every single word. But before you completely run away and say, STARGUTZZZ, you are insane for recommending this film to a broad audience, please consider, again, this is not your grandmother's musical. This isn't Grease. This isn't West Side Story. It's made by Twisted Pictures. Just keep that in mind. It's made by Twisted Pictures. It's made by the Saw guys. And also, it's 2008, when goth and emo are pretty much at its peak. So take into consideration the fact that the music within Repo, the Genetic Opera, is not going to be your standard musical tone. It's going to be heavy, it's going to be fast-paced, it uses electric guitar and techno, and also like really heavy bass. It is angsty, it is moody, it is aggressive, it is loud. So just keep that in mind. It is a rock opera, which takes inspiration from some of the alternative music scene at the time. Anything from rock, alternative, metal. Personally, like Shiloh's songs, our main character, they have a real Avril Lavigne feel to me.
And I don't think that I can be fixed. No, I don't think that I can be fixed. You tell me why are my genetics such a bitch?
And then in a lot of Nathan's songs, I think there are a lot of like metal inspirations, especially in the way that he chooses to sing. It's a lot more gruff and growl. And listen, primarily Nathan has my favorite songs. Night Surgeon, bomb ass song. And just the soundtrack as a whole is really well done and really addictive. And some songs are more addictive than others.
Zydrate comes in a little glass vial.
A little glass vial? A little glass vial.
And the little glass vial goes into the gun like a battery.
In fact, I am willing to bet that there's a good percentage of people who have heard the most popular song out of this film, out of this musical opera thing, and not even realized it. I think I recall a few years ago Zydrate Anatomy making rounds with alt baddies on TikTok. So if you remember that short trend happening and you liked that song and you never figured out what it's even from, you're welcome. It's from Repo, the Genetic Opera. The first time that I watched this, I was in middle school, and ever since then I was addicted to this. Not just because of how like beautiful the film is, but damn, the soundtrack is really so addictive. I'm willing to bet I've seen this film dozens of times. When I first watched it in middle school, I can distinctly remember I would watch it at least 2 to 3 times a week, every week, for, I think it went on for 4 months. So I love the film. I've seen it dozens upon dozens upon dozens of times, but I can promise you, I've probably listened to the soundtrack triple that amount. I've listened to the soundtrack way more than I've seen the film, and I've seen the film a lot. I think if you are one of those edgy band theater kids who likes metal music or heavy rock music, then this film is made for you, and you will get addicted to the soundtrack. So even if you hate musicals, if you like alternative heavy metal rock music, or if you like old mid-2000s like emo music, I think give this a shot. Also, if you liked Saw, as I said in the previous section, it still has some Saw aesthetics going on in it. So I think there are like a few qualities that Repo has that could draw in an audience that typically is not into musicals and operas. Oh, also Bill Moseley is in this. Another big name, Bill Moseley. We get to hear Bill Moseley sing for the entirety of this.
Shut the fuck up! I'm the smartest and the toughest. I will find a hole and fuck it.
If you're not sold yet, what else is going to sell you other than Bill Moseley singing? Although I will be the first to admit how Repo the Genetic Opera is kind of a product of its time, and you're going to notice that if you sit here and watch it. Like, there's no avoiding it. There are very specific things that happen and that it pokes fun of that are just, you can tell it's made in 2008. And some of the songs, I won't lie, are also just products of the time. Remember when I mentioned Shiloh's songs? Yes, they do remind me of Avril Lavigne, but now as an adult, I have to be honest, now as an adult, when I listen to Shiloh's songs, they make me cringe. So yes, I will be the first person who loves this film to admit that yes, there are some cringy moments in this. Shiloh's songs are like very cookie cutter, angsty, rebellious teenager, and she's going to be reminiscent of like edgy, rebellious, emo teenagers who used MySpace, okay?
Girl is dreaming, I'm just 17, and it's better than 40.
And this is going to be an aspect of the film that I think is going to be a con for some people, but for other people, it's going to be a pro. Like, there are a lot of people who are going to see how much of this is a product of the time, and they're going to find it iconic. I find it iconic. It reminds me of being in middle school when I rewatch it now, which to some people is a bad thing, but for me, I think it's a good thing because it kind of warms my heart a little bit, and it reminds me of being a baby bat during that time period. I was an emo kid on MySpace, so at the time, I fucking loved Shiloh. And I had a massive crush on the grave robber, as I'm sure multiple little baby bat girls have. Nowadays, I have a crush on Nathan. But that's besides the point. Let's not get all like fanfiction.net here. So yeah, Shiloh songs, they are very like angsty emo teen. Can we also talk about the fact that every leading female role in this, everyone looks like Amy Lee? Every woman in this film looks like Amy Lee. Shiloh looks like Amy Lee. Blind Mag looks like Amy Lee. And also Paris Hilton's character has a moment where she looks like Amy Lee. Oh, did I forget to mention that Paris Hilton is in this film? Because she is. She's one of the lead roles. Which is I think that's another testament to how this is just a product of the time. Again, I don't think it's bad, and I don't even think it's that bad. So I guess in a way, as I said earlier, it's a social commentary on a lot of stuff happening in our reality, but it's also like very blatantly parodying it. And can I also say, when I was younger watching this, obviously I hated Paris Hilton, but now as I'm older, I honestly kind of think that it's cool and baller that Paris Hilton took this role, because her whole character is just like this parody of Hollywood. I definitely think there's probably a reason Paris Hilton said yes to this, and I'm one of those people who I think Paris Hilton is smarter than people make her out to be. So I think it is cool and it is baller that she accepted this role, that she is in this movie, and that she is playing the part that she does, because she seems very self-aware, or at least aware of the culture that she is surrounded in. Does that make sense? Anyway, and this film being a product of the time, while there are some cringy examples of Repo being a product of the time, I think there are a lot of good examples of this being a product of the time, such as it being so perfectly, like, I think it perfectly embodies the emo goth scene of the time and its aesthetics that it uses. So if you're somebody who, like me, was either a baby bat or an adult during the MySpace time, and you went through that emo phase, and you feel very, like, what's the right word? You feel very, I guess, soft towards it, then I would highly recommend watching Repo the Genetic Opera, because it definitely feeds on the mid-2000s emo aesthetics to not only build its world, but build its characters and build its music and build its story. Like, there's a lot of high contrasts, a lot of the cool blue tones. There's a shot of Shiloh looking out of her window, and it looks like the music video for Bring Me to Life. As I said, the whole city looks like it is meant to belong in an Evanescence music video. It's so cool. It's so cool that we just have a film that really encapsulates and embodies what that kind of subculture was at this time. And I think overall, like, that's what Repo is. It's definitely like this time capsule of what it was like in the gothic emo scene of the mid-2000s, because even a lot of the social commentaries that it makes, like, the goth community isn't exactly concerned with plastic surgery the way mainstream subcultures are. So of course it's going to be a gothic emo narrative criticizing these aspects of our society, which is just like, to me, as somebody who was alive during that time period, I think that is a perfect embodiment of what it was like to be in the scene at the time, because it was a lot of the criticisms and social commentary that normal people were making about these things coming up in mainstream Hollywood and culture. And even though it's very timely to 2008, I think there, again, is still a lot from Repo that we could apply to today. Now, I know I didn't get super specific in this review, and that's because I don't want to give too much away. I love this film, and if I could, I would sit here and I would tell you every single detail that I love about it. However, if you decide to go out and give this film a chance, I do want you to be experiencing a lot of the narrative things that are happening in it for yourself for the first time. Especially, like I said, it's 4 stories that all create this overarching, like, big story happening. And for me, I can still remember what it was like my first time watching this movie, and I thought it was really exciting and fun to watch it slowly develop and watch more things slowly unravel, figuring out who, like, these 3 other characters that have backstories pertaining to Shiloh, how they even relate and how everything is connected and how it ends up being part of Shiloh's journey too. I think it's a lot of fun. It's definitely more well written and better structured than you might think at a glance, because it is a straight to DVD. I'm pretty sure it was straight to DVD. A straight to DVD musical, but I think there's a lot that it has to offer that not only is unique to this film, but unique to the time period that it's from as well. Because not only is Repo a product of its time period and a product of the subculture that it's reflecting, but it's also like a very cool dystopian depiction of cosmetic surgery gone too far and medical companies basically ruling the world. And I get, because of the musical aspect, I'm probably gonna lose 50% of you or more, and that's fair. I wanted to include Repo in this because it has a cult following, but I feel like it's still a little bit more on the obscure side. I think only edgy theater kids like myself really knew what Repo the Genetic Opera was. But I do think if you're a fan of Saw and if you're a fan of like more hardcore music, then it's worth giving this a shot, because again, I've already said it, I'm gonna say it again, it's not your grandmother's musical. There's a lot that make it stand out from what a typical musical is, and as I said, it is still gory. It's still very, very gory. And I just thought it was a really fun inclusion to have first. It's a fun, simple, enjoyable film. You don't have to be like focused on all of the commentary it's making. You don't have to be focused on that a whole lot in order to enjoy this film. If you watch this and just want to completely blank out and not analyze it, not think about the bigger picture, you can do that and still have a really positive experience with this film. I think it's just fun. It's just, that's why I wanted to make the video on it. I just think it's fun. I really enjoy it. I've loved it since I was younger. And while it has a cult following, I still think a lot more people need to recognize how great Repo the Genetic Opera is. And now, what tier am I going to be giving Repo the Genetic Opera? Well, keep in mind, all of October, these are all films that I'm very familiar with, that I love a whole lot, and that I hold like near and dear to me, especially during the Halloween season. So keep in mind, a lot of the ratings for this month are going to be unusually high. But for Repo the Genetic Opera, I will be giving it I'll give it an A tier, and here's why. So when I first remembered this film and I was getting excited to rewatch it, before even rewatching it again, it's been a few years since I have rewatched it, I was automatically like, oh, this is going to be an S tier, easy S tier. However, I think as I've gotten older, I've become a little less crazed about it. When I was younger, obsessed, crazed, knew the entire thing word for word. And back then I probably would have stated that it is an S tier film. And now I still think it is a very incredible and enjoyable film. However, I just don't think that it's a masterpiece, and that's what I tend to think of the S tier as, is like these masterpieces. So for that, I'm just going to give it an A. I'm not as crazed obsessed as I used to be. However, every time that I do return to it, I do find myself listening to the soundtrack a whole lot, and I do love it a lot. I do find it enjoyable, but I don't know if it's exactly S tier worthy. And with that, we are done with yet another movie review. Thank you guys so much if you stayed around all the way until the very end. If you like this video, please make sure that you stab that like button. It is a free and easy way to help support this channel. Also, while I am doing a lot of films that I personally recommend throughout this month, if you do have a film suggestion, put it down in the comments and maybe you will see it come up in a future video. Also, if you just love this video so much that you want to hear me ramble about more horror movies, I do B movies, bad movies, obscure movies, sometimes some disturbing cinema, and sometimes a mainstream new picture, but most of the time I'm just choosing something random on Tubi that I think sounds interesting. If you're interested in hearing more rambling from me, please consider hitting that subscribe button and the bell icon so you can be notified every time I make a new upload. New uploads are every Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and on the screen are some of my socials as well, if you would like to follow me on there. And just one final thank you so much to everyone that stuck around until the very end. I don't know how cohesive this review was, but I want to thank you so much for sticking with me throughout it and sticking to the very end. Our time here is precious. We really don't have a whole lot of it when you think about it, and the fact that you have used your time to sit here and watch me discuss this rock opera that has a fair cult following, but I am willing to bet not a whole lot of people know about still. Just thank you. I really appreciate you. I appreciate your time and your presence and you being here watching this review. I appreciate it. It really does mean a whole lot to me. If I do not see you in any posts, then I will see you in the next video. But until then, please have a great night and stay safe out there.
Let your life be your dream. Integrity, honesty. It's too late for me. Don't look back till you're free to chase the morning.